the Fund for Women Artists started with the idea that women need to know one another, need to know the work that we're doing, and that women in Alaska would be interested in what women in Florida were doing, but they have no access to one another.
I don't think that I did much networking before I found out about the Fund for Women Artists. I felt really isolated as an artist, and now I have a broader sense of who's just in my community.
I've been able to make a wider variety of films in general. I've certainly been able to make longer films. Longer films cost more money. I was never able to raise the kind of money before joining the Fund for Women Artists.
When I started the Fund for Women Artists, I already had been working for about 20 years in mainstream arts organizations. And in those situations, the artists are very productive because there's a whole team of people behind them, helping them. I had to start the organization really with the question of what's the best way to help these women? What would really help move their careers forward? What would help them express themselves the best?
Somewhere in Haiti it is cold today. Somewhere in Haiti a little girl's tongue shivers. Somewhere in Haiti there is blood, I said today, in Port-au-Prince, capital of my Haiti, where this tongue first tasted fried plantain, sugar cane. A hungry little girl I am not, could have been, is screaming, I said. It's like the difference between me and Beyonce is that you know, she has this manager, father and mother that really know the work. So for me, I'm making it up as I go along, and it's good to be able to find people and an organization to really guide me through that process of becoming a working artist and not a starving artist.
One of the things that I always struggled with was grant writing and fundraising. And when I joined the Fund for Women Artists, suddenly that load was lifted, and I was able to do much more filmmaking.
What Martha does is, I called her up and I said, Martha, I have to go and talk to these people who don't really want to give me money, but they want me to come and plead with them to give me money. And I'm not really good at that. I'm not a diplomat. I'm an artist. I want to scream at them. I want their money, but I want to scream. So Martha said, I'll go.
Sometimes they need advice about a grant. Sometimes they need advice about who might be another artist that's out there that I might know of because I've been working in the area for a long time. They need to know that somebody is moved by their work. Because we feel that the sense of community was really important, we decided to create the Women Arts Network online. Any woman artist anywhere in the world actually can create a free profile page on our site.
I immediately emailed all the women of color artists I knew, and I said, hey, if you're looking for an online presence or more of it, please, fill out a profile because it's free, and that's a key thing. I mean, artists are poor, basically. So it's good to have that space to just promote yourself and talk about your work.
So we have women from India and Japan and Nigeria. I think the thing that touched me the most was this one woman who wrote to me, and she was a street theater artist in Beirut, and she said, thank you for starting the Women Arts Network. It's my window on the world.
I'm an individual donor to the Fund for Women Artists because if I don't do it, who is? If we individual donors don't, who will? 85% of the donations that are given to nonprofits most years are from individual donors. You cannot rely on foundations. You cannot rely on the government. You cannot rely on corporations, particularly for individuals. So if we want the art, we've got to pay for it. And it's not just pay for it, it's really support it. I mean, join it is kind of the way I think about it.
Over the years, we've helped women raise over $3 million at this point. We've created a website that 20,000 people a month visit. The next logical step is for us to create a grants program. So many of the artists we're dealing with, they're juggling 3 jobs, or they're trying to piece together several grants. Maybe they've got one grant for $2,000 and one for $5,000 or whatever. They can't make a living on that. Nobody can make a living on that. And they're spending all their time writing dozens of grant proposals to get small amounts of money. We want to be able to give somebody a chunk of time, a respite from that, so that they can actually do their work. When people get an Oscar or an Emmy Award or a Pulitzer, it's a recognition of their individual work, but it's also a recognition of the entire field that they're in. It says something when it's important enough to make an award for a group of people. It says that working in the movie industry is important, or doing television shows are important, or writing books is important. We want to send the message that it's an important thing to explore women's lives and to tell the truth about women's lives, to create diverse and complex women characters in works of art. We want to say that that's an important endeavor, and we want to encourage it.
Walking prose, dark round eyes.
The Fund for Women Artists and all of the sort of light that Martha shines on the work of women artists allows women to conceive of themselves as artists and not to have to just struggle with, oh my God, I'm going to abandon sanity and fling myself into the wind, but I'm actually doing something reasonable and wonderful and sustainable.
That you can have something called, the WomenArts Network, and women from all over the world will go to it. Says something. It says that there's really that need there in Serbia to be, to proclaim oneself an artist, and to have that identity as a woman artist is it's exciting.
Women need to be supported in the arts. They need to be supported in filmmaking, and it's just not happening. And it's not because the talent's not there. It's just because there's less opportunity. So I'm really grateful to the Fund for Women Artists for being there for us, for being there for me.